Second.
Thank you. All righty. We're moving right along to our public meeting. And we already had the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Mrs. Lashway to please read the Open Publics Meeting Act announcement.
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ferrante? Mr. Nacastro?
Here.
Mr. Perkins?
Here.
Mr. Roman?
Here.
Mr. Stazak?
Here.
Mr. Mania?
Here.
Mrs. Laybow?
Here. Thank you. Mr. Francis not here. Mr. Maney, would you please move the minutes of previous meetings for approval?
Madam Chairman, I move previous meetings, June 25th, 2013, workshop and public meeting.
And closed session. And closed session.
And closed session,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Roman and Mr. Mania were absent. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Abstain.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Abstain.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. This evening, we have 18 pieces of correspondence, and our attorney would like to make a comment about number 4, please.
I just had a comment about the fourth piece of correspondence regarding the pending bills before the Senate with regard to the amendments to the Open Public Meetings Act and the Open Public Records Act. I guess there was some speculation that there was a senator from Hudson County who sponsored this bill, but we've just learned there's actually a local senator, Senator Panacio out of Montville, who has sponsored the bill. So we just wanted to bring that to council's attention in case anyone was curious.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion on the 18 pieces of correspondence? Okay, seeing none. We have 2 ordinances for public hearing. First ordinance, number 16 hold on.
2013.
Thank you. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 16-2013, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 400, Land Use, Article 5, Design Guidelines and Technical Standards, Section 75, Tree Removal, Replanting, and Forestry Management Plans. Mr. Nacastro, would you please move that?
Madam President, is this the ordinance that needs to be amended?
Yes.
Do we move it first and then?
No, does it have to be withdrawn and resubmitted after being amended, or can you just amend it on the fly?
That's what I was
It's
going
not a
to ask after we
resolution, so
opened
it has to be, I don't know what the answer to the question is.
I think you can make a motion to amend it
Yeah.
right now and then
Okay.
adopt it.
Make
So your motion would be to amend it.
So
We open it first and then make a motion to amend it, because open it as is, and then, yeah, that's what I thought. We make a motion, what do you think right now?
I don't know the
Yeah.
answer to the question.
I thought first we would open it as is and then make a motion to amend it. Is that
I
correct?
think you make a motion to amend.
You've
amend
opened it.
first and then
You've
open
opened
to the
it.
public as amended.
I think you need to make a motion to put it on the table and get a second, and then a motion to amend.
Right.
Okay.
Then you move it as amended.
Okay.
So make a motion to
You're gonna-
adopt,
No, you make a motion to amend.
make a motion to amend ordinance number 16-2013.
Second.
To
To remove-
remove language with respect to the Environmental Commission and
Zoning Board of
Zoning Board of Adjustment.
And what
That's
about,
what your motion
Yes.
is.
And what about
So
the planning
motion is to
board?
And planning board, but that's already in there.
Yeah, that's already part of the
That's already
resolution.
part of
That's
it.
already part of the
Yeah.
ordinance.
Begin with.
That was part of the ordinance.
Yes.
So we have
Okay.
a,
So make a motion to remove the environmental committee and the
Commission.
zoning board
Zoning.
of adjustment.
I second it.
okay.
Right, the motion should reflect that it is a council decision and no one else's decision in terms of approval of use of the tree ordinance.
Tree ordinance funds,
Tree funds.
tree funds. Mr. Perkins?
Mayor, does that mean that we should be removing the planning board as an approving authority?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's already part of the ordinance.
That's
what the
already,
ordinance
that's
did.
already part of this.
Yeah, the ordinance already did that.
This
So I think
ordinance
the only
removes the
oversight was the
planning board.
environmental
Right.
commission.
The
we
ordinance-
previously amended it and removed the Board of
Right,
Adjustment.
now we need to amend it to
So-
remove environmental
And the
and zoning.
Environmental Commission is not an approving authority, so I
Okay.
really don't know what
What's, yeah.
amendments you really need to make.
The planning board thought that it was, from their discussion, they thought that it was in there, should be removed. That was where that came from what I understand. But I couldn't, I didn't.
I didn't find it
I didn't
either.
find it. So I don't know what they were referring to.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Well, they might have just maybe had an old document or something, or,
There's
I
nothing to
didn't
amend
see
if
it.
there's not in there.
I'm saying, on the revised ordinance that we have, 16-213, 2013 revised, it says Section 1, subsection C, definitions, approving authority, the planning board or the Township Council of Mount Olive Township. So if we're removing the planning board as well as the zoning board of adjustment and leaving sole approving authority with the Township Council, then this needs to be changed.
that's what I was saying before during the workshop, it says it right there, so.
Why don't we table this ordinance, and we'll come back with a new
Clean-
ordinance
Nice,
with all the
clean
correct
ordinance.
revisions.
Get all the other
Fine.
entities.
It should be, that's fine. You should move to table. He should withdraw his motion. and the
I would have to withdraw my second.
Yeah.
So I'll withdraw my motion to amend ordinance
I
number
withdraw my
16,
second.
2013.
Do I have a motion to table ordinance number
So moved.
16, 2013? Thank you. All in, oh, roll call?
Is there a second?
Yes. Jim Stazak seconded. Roll call,
Get all
please.
these J's.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Okay.
Just for the record, the ordinance should be amended to remove as approving authority the planning board. It should simply say Township Council of
Correct.
Mount Olive
Yes.
Township.
Right.
Correct.
And that would make it appropriate.
Yeah.
So that's direction to the attorney.
And any other place where those two, where that entity appears, or the zoning board of adjustment appears within the body of the original ordinance.
And if we find
And if you find
environmental committee,
environmental
we'll remove that as well.
Strike them out.
It should simply say Township Council.
Thank you. We'll have that for, now, do we don't have to re-advertise, and we're still gonna be the same?
We're gonna start all over with it.
So
It's
this,
tabled, it's killed.
this is
Tabled.
killed, this is done.
Finito.
Finito. 16, ordinance number 16-2013 has bit the dust.
Or is it carried?
We'll have a new number for it at the next council meeting.
Tabling deads it, right?
Alrighty. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 19-2013, ordinance of the Township Council of Township of Mount Olive amending ordinance number 20-2012 entitled Salaries of Certain Non-Union Personnel as previously amended by ordinance number 17-2013. Mr. Stazak, would you please move that?
Yes, we move for adoption and final passage of ordinance number 19-2013.
Second.
Thank you. Seeing no one from the public, anybody from council, any comments, concerns? Not seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes, we have no ordinances for first reading this evening, and we're moving right along to our resolutions. And I would like to have resolution number 1, and our attorney has asked for resolution number 7 to be moved to non-consent. Do any council members, would you like to move any of the resolutions to non-consent? All right, seeing none, Mr. Meany, would you please move resolution, God bless you, 2 through 6?
Madam Chairman, I move for approval of consent resolutions 2 through 6.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, anybody from the public? Seeing no one from the public? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Roman, would you please move resolution, non-consent resolution number 1?
I move for approval non-consent resolution number 1.
Second.
Thank you. I asked to have this removed because it's a very special resolution from, I have our auditor here, Mr. Gary Higgins, to tell us about it, and wanna thank-
Thanks for making me special this evening.
Yes.
I am pleased
It's
to be here.
only this evening.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't happen often.
Starts charging at 7:30, so let's go.
All right. I believe everybody did receive the township's audit for the year ending December 31st, 2012. I'd just like to highlight some of the items. First of all, the first 3 pages is the independent auditor's report, and I'm proud to report that you did receive an unqualified opinion, except for the length of service award program, which they don't require us to audit, but it's included, and we issue a separate report on that. So everything else is unqualified based on the other comprehensive basis of accounting that you report on, which is a regulatory basis of accounting promulgated by the Division of Local Government Services. You do not prepare your financial statements in accordance with GAAP, but you and the rest of the community of New Jersey municipalities and counties all do it the same. So basically, you're in accordance with Hoyle in New Jersey. I'd like to highlight a few financial items. First of all, on page 50 in your audit, your cash balances on hand are approximately $17,400,000 at year end, and they were all insured either by the FDIC or the Government Unit Deposit Protection Act, known as GUDPA. So all the funds of the town were protected at December 31 and throughout the year with the proper insurances. With respect to your debt, you're running approximately 20% of what you could have in outstanding debt. You're at 0.72%. You could go up to a maximum of 3.5%. So you have a debt capacity over 92 million more, which demonstrates that your debt capacity really isn't being utilized, and that's a good thing. The debt is fairly low compared to the rest of the state. We did have one highlight in the debt area. You had a refunding last year in March where you refunded $3,815,000 of general obligation debt, and by doing so, you saved the taxpayers approximately $187,000 over the remaining 8 years of the outstanding debt. So that was another positive highlight in the debt area last year. For 2012, you did have to undergo a state single audit. When you have a state or federal single audit, that means in any year you either have $500,000 of federal and or state expenditures. With regards to the grant you're getting from the DEP for the Flanders well remediation, you received almost $800,000 of grant money for expenditures from them, which is a good thing when we're getting money from Trenton. This caused you to have a state single audit, which we undertook as part of your general audit, and we found no instances of non-compliance, whether it be internal control or general compliance with the grant procedures. So everything came through fine there. With regards to your general review of internal controls and compliance, we noted no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. We had no disagreements with management nor your CMFO with regards to the application of your accounting principles. The accounting principles applied in the 2012 audit to the financial statements are consistent with the 2011 accounting principles. With regards to the financial statements presented for audit, I would have to, I guess, maybe use the word impeccable, only because I think we had 2 journal entries. Maybe one was my fault because we didn't discuss it long enough back in the summer of last year, and the other was just something that we came across because we have to make an adjustment for an accrual at year end, which we do annually. So from that standpoint, the records we received were in fine shape, and throughout the year, Sherry does communicate with me a lot, and we go through a lot of issues, and the books are kept very current, very up to date with the latest accounting changes and so forth. Finally, 2 items with regards to surplus. On page 168 of your audit, if anybody's following along, there's a 5-year history of your surplus, and just a couple highlights. You did regenerate your surplus from 11 to 12 within $11,000, approximately $3 million, and you left behind, after appropriating for tax relief in 13, an amount of almost $2 million, you left approximately $900,000 left for cash flow and contingency purposes, but we're able to give tax relief of approximately $2 million again. With regards to the utility funds, the solid waste collection district, all those surplus balances at year end were fairly consistent with the prior year, and what you left behind, again, and not appropriating into the future budget were also consistent. Finally, regard to audit recommendations, as I stated, we didn't have any difficulties in any of the areas of compliance, internal control, and therefore that resulted in having no recommendations to be made that would assist the future of the town. So all in all, I have to say, I guess this is kind of a A+ report as usual.
Yes.
And we expect that when we come here, and we look at your finance department along with the governing body as having a high level of fiscal integrity, which from an auditor's standpoint makes us feel a lot more comfortable when we spend our 400-plus hours reviewing the many records here, that we know everyone behind the records throughout the year are doing really what they're supposed to be doing. Does anybody have any questions on any of the 163 pages I didn't reference?
Mr. Mayor?
Just congratulations once again to Sherry and her finance department.
Yes. I also would like to say congratulations, and I am very happy that we, so many times you hear of different municipalities where like max out what they can actually borrow, and we're not doing that, and I think that's excellent. It's a credit to our finance department, Sherry, our auditor, our administration, our mayor, council, everybody's doing a wonderful job. Mr. Perkins?
I would echo that, as well as congratulating our finance department and thanking my fellow council members up here, and some of us like Rob, our mayor, that's been around with me for a while. When we took the commitment to pay down debt aggressively years ago, we have followed through with that, and we're going to continue to do that moving forward. I'm sure that the rest of the council feels the same way. So congratulations again, Sherry. Gary, thanks for making it sound so good.
Thank you. I think it's excellent, too, when you do the refinancing and saving money on that. So many times you're just like, oh, well, that's the debt, and that's where it is. But Sherry's always looking to find ways to save us even more money, and it's fantastic. Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none? Mr. Higgins, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Drive home safely. Oh, what? Oh, I'm sorry. We have to have our roll call to approve this. Roll call.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Moving right along, resolution number 7. Mr. Perkins, would you please move resolution number 7 for
Yeah, I
us?
move non-consent resolution number 7 for approval.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Jeff, would you
Sure.
has a discussion on this?
Thank you, Madam President. With regard to the portion of this resolution authorizing the release of the COA contributions, we have learned that tomorrow morning the New Jersey Supreme Court will issue a decision impacting COA, and we think the council can pass the resolution tonight, but however, our office would just like to reserve the opportunity to make sure that the opinion does not impact the release of COA funds at all.
So we're going to amend the resolution to reflect that. So, Mr. Perkins, would you like to amend the resolution, non-consent resolution number 7, that, you want to
I
do
would-
the verbiage?
I'd like to amend non-consent resolution number 7 to be in conformance with the state Supreme Court decision tomorrow relative to the release of COA funding.
Thank you.
An attorney couldn't have done it better.
Perfect.
Second.
Yeah, he could've,
Mr.
that's why he got paid
Stazak
big
seconded
bucks.
the amendment. Any other further discussion on this? And I want to thank our legal office for bringing that to our attention. And seeing no other discussion, could I have roll call, please?
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. All righty. Next on the agenda is our consent motions, and I'm going to ask Mr. Stazak, would you please move the consent motion, which is our bill list?
Yes, I move the bill list for approval. Consent.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nacastro?
Abstain from check number 63499, and yes on all the rest.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Roman?
Yes.
Mr. Stazak?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mrs. Laybow?
Yes. Do we have any new business this evening? Seeing no new business. Hold on one second. Old business first. It was on the bottom of the other page. Any
Yes,
old
yes.
business?
All business comes before new business.
Oh, yes, exactly. But it was only at the bottom of this page here.
They're hiding it.
And they were hiding it from me, I know. I gotta ask for larger font. Seeing no old business, no new business, legal matters.
Just one item, Madam President, just consistent with our prior discussion regarding COA. We will update the governing body on the effect, if any, that this Supreme Court decision has on the release of COA fees.
Any questions for our attorney? Seeing none. We have, hold on a second, I missed the administrative reports, I'm sorry.
Well, we don't want to give
Administrative-
it now.
Oh, come on.
All right, I'll start.
We gotta highlight it the next time.
First, I wasn't here at the last meeting because I was at high school graduation, but if you all missed the mud run, it was tremendously successful and a lot of fun. And our turnout was great. Our response in terms of the people who did come was great. People just really couldn't get enough of the day. And it's beautiful weather, and everyone had a great time. Following up on that, obviously, this week is a big week for Mount Olive, July 10th through the 14th. With fireworks on Saturday, July 13th is the Mount Olive Carnival. The rain date for the fireworks is Sunday, July 14th. The hours of the carnival are Wednesday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., Saturday, 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also today, I know that a lot of us were there, grand opening of the community garden, which was very well attended, and two highlights that I was advised of. Number one is that people, not only in the spirit of gardening and farming, but they're also using the community garden as an event to meet other people in town, which, as you may recall, when we opened the dog park, people said, what do you need a dog park for? And
Yeah.
everyone said, well, it's really not so much for the dogs as it is for the people who have dogs, to meet other people in town. Secondly, I was very impressed by the fact that the goal of the community garden was, in fact, to have it ultimately run by the community rather than the Land Conservancy. And already there are 14 people who have stepped up to the plate to take some sort of leadership role in the community garden, which is great. Couple other things, real quick. Many of you have obviously seen what has been going on outside of the municipal building in terms of the stonework that's been done. That is a adopt-a-spot consistent with the other adopt-a-spots that we have initiated in the town. I'd like to thank Board and Batten, Michelle Morgan as the owner. They did a fantastic job out there. They worked during the heat of the last couple of days to get it done, and it looks fantastic. So any of us who has the opportunity to reach out to them to thank them for the job that they did or to promote their business in any way, you should take advantage of that. Finally, we had an issue with respect to DEP and the planning board approval with respect to the expansion of the Siemens facility down in Flanders on Flanders Bartley Road. After it had been approved by the planning board, an issue arose with the DEP in terms of water allocation. And although we had guaranteed water allocation based upon our estimates of what we had available, the DEP took a different position based upon a 5-year study of water usage in Mount Olive. It turns out that there were a couple of periods in Mount Olive where there were significant water main breaks, which really impacted the 5-year flow usage numbers. And the DEP doesn't have the ability to look beyond the numbers. They simply look at the statute and say, okay, 5 years, this was your highest flow, this is what you have available to you. And it became a problem for us, and became a problem for Siemens in terms of their schedule, in terms of their expansion. The town worked very diligently with Gene Bazinski, the DPW department, Water and Sewer, to arrange a meeting, which occurred today down at DEP with not only the individuals at the lower level, but we were successful in bringing in the upper level management of DEP, and ultimately it's an issue which has been resolved in our favor. And Siemens was extremely gratified and satisfied with the efforts of the township to resolve that issue, which should be work well into their schedule going forward. We simply needed to point out to them that the higher numbers were anomalies based upon the water main breaks, but as all of us know, dealing with the DEP on any particular issue is difficult. Finally, I'm sure you're all aware that the discretionary aid grant with respect to ITC was approved. And I'd like to thank Senator Oroho, Assemblywoman McCose, and Assemblyman Space for their help in terms of identifying, and the governor's office as well, when we reached out to them, in terms of righting a wrong. We should have been awarded the original grant application that we had put in, but obviously there was some miscommunication in terms of the need for the resurfacing, and ultimately, through the help of our state representatives, we were able to correct that problem, and Mount Olive is now benefiting through the efforts of both what we did and what our representatives did for us on the state level.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Took all my time.
Mr. Canning?
The only thing I have is DOT. I want to thank Senator Orojo's office. It's been over a year now, and we've been asking them to lean on New Jersey Transit to get the graffiti painted down on the Route 206 Railroad Bridge. And finally, I was assured by Helen from Senator Orojo's office that it's either been painted or it's imminent to be painted. However, they disavow any ownership over the Flanders-Bartley crossing, so there's some research as to who has responsibility for that. But why they're so unresponsive, I have no idea. It's been, I believe, a year ago, March, I first started reaching out to New Jersey Transit. So we have one bridge down, and it was an eyesore, so they finally got the painting. And hopefully it doesn't get tagged again anytime
Yeah.
soon. That's all I have.
How's it going with the no left-hand turn communication on 46?
Nothing, and I would not anticipate anything from DOT anytime soon. It's,
Had a-
to merely get the pharmacy sign was months upon months in the offing. So I will continue to try if that's council's direction of me, and you know, it's an unwieldy bureaucracy.
Yeah. Mr. Roman?
On that no left-hand turn on 46, have we reached out to the Chamber of Commerce to get their input as to whether they feel this is something that could be a benefit or detriment to business?
I guess I'd throw this back to council. If this is the direction you guys want me to do, I'll endeavor to find out, you know, where we want to go with this or not. As of now, I sent the letter to the commissioner asking them to basically take a look at the issue.
I mean, I for one would like to at least have their input, since you know, Route 46 is dotted with many businesses, obviously mine included, and to see what they would feel as would be the impact as to requiring their customers to either go down further or, you know, not be able to access them immediately.
Mayor?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of sending it to the Chamber of Commerce in their capacity as a civic organization, basically. Although I do recognize the issue that's been raised by Councilman Roman. And having given it some thought, I don't believe that it is in the town's best interest to eliminate left turns on Route 46 in total, because of the fact that it will seriously impact a number of the businesses in town. So I would not be in favor of that. I don't need to hear it from the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't believe that the Chamber of Commerce is the correct to send it to.
I have a question about that. There has been times over the years where some businesses would like to have a no left-hand turn signal because they recognize that it would be safer for their customers. And the procedure now, as you said, CVS, it took them months to get that. Is there a way to get like permission where it would be ultimately at the towns that we would make the decision instead of each business having to go through all the red tape of the state to have it happen, to make the no left-hand turn?
It's anything with the DOT, especially Route 46 and Route 206. The state is very, and I guess to a certain degree, contemplative on these matters because they don't want, you know, sign pollution. So that they take a great deal of time. It's very frustrating at our level to get the non-response from the state. But in the end of the day, they feel upon their own experts and for whatever rationale they arrive at why they allow these signs or don't allow these signs. I think if they were to allow it to the local level, it may end up being a menagerie of what business wants it, what business doesn't.
Got it.
First of all, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Mayor?
Sign pollution is not just simply the fact that it's unsightly. Sign pollution really deals more with the fact that if you have too many signs, it becomes difficult ultimately to have an understanding as to the message which is being sent and followed. And I can tell you that there may be some businesses which are not in favor of left-hand turns. Generally, a business wants to drive as many customers into their facility as possible, so that I can sit here with great certainty and tell you that the businesses along Route 46, almost to 100%, would not be in favor of limiting access to their facilities or out of their facilities.
Right.
And that really their concern, albeit, you know, we'd like to think is for the safety of the customer. The customer has to be given some ability to make decisions on their own. And their concern is really How do we get people into our facility? How do we make it attractive to do business in Mount Olive? And I don't believe that eliminating left turns off of Route 46 on a mass scale is the right way to go. I think the better way to do it is to identify those areas where left turns are not practical, and then petition the state to say, we have identified this particular location, similar to CVS, to say, it doesn't work here, the sight distance is not sufficient, and this is an area which is appropriate for no left turns. But to do it on a blanket scale, I believe is inappropriate.
And that's actually how the procedure is now, so there's really no action that needs to be taken, because that's how it is. Also, I want to say, as far as the signs go, how many of us noticed that when a sign's there, you don't really pay a lot of attention to it. So if you have too many signs, they're there for a specific reason. You have too many, you're not going to get the message across that you want.
Well, I'm sorry, Ray, because I know you want to speak. But I recognize, having done a lot of forklift work, that there is something called the beehive effect. And I've represented forklift manufacturers, and the argument always was by a plaintiff's attorney that forklifts should have backup alarms. And the reason is that you as a pedestrian would know that there are people backing up. But when you have many forklifts working in the same area, the backup alarm loses its functionality because they're going all the time, and you don't know where they're going, and it puts you on no notice of what's going on. So I believe that that's really what the sign pollution deals with. If you have too many signs, it's not giving you the message that you need to get.
That you need. Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Madam President. I think, from a standpoint of watching it, on my way heading down to Kessler today, right at Mount Olive Road, there was a driver from New York who decided that it was in his best interest to make a left-hand turn to go back to towards St. Jude's and where the post office is, and just missed getting clipped by two other motor vehicles that were there. Now, clearly, it says there's no left-hand turn. What's ironic is the fact that we have interstate highways that advertise for restaurants, gas stations, hotels, and they tell you how far it is, and they point an arrow to go in a specific direction, which always boggles me when you get to the entrance for Netcong Road, and we're all familiar with that by Kennedy's Pub. If there was a sign there that kind of used to tell people that the Delta, when it used to just be both Deltas, that there was actually a Delta on the westbound side, and they didn't need to stop there to try to make a left across the traffic and cause accidents. And if there was a sign where it says Netcong Road that had a little arrow pointing up, a little U-turn that said BP station, those are the type of things I think that need to make sense. I agree with the mayor that we ought to be specific, but I think that we need the state to come out, because if we start expending all this time that says, okay, we've found all these, and we've all had the police reports, for when Ed Katona was chief and Mark has been, Spitzer's the chief, with the number of accidents at specific locations, and no one wants to hurt a business, but there becomes a certain time, maybe of the day, that those can be done. I mean, there are streets in New York City, including, where you can't make a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn during certain hours, during rush hours. And maybe that would be something. But first thing I think is that Sean is right. You need to get the DOT to at least agree to sit and meet with us. Then let's look at the Route 46 corridor, explain some of the issues we have. Then we can talk about some signages and some other issues that are there. But I think we need to get them out there first. We need to get that meeting set up so that we can explain what our concerns are, and then they'll, of course, I don't want to be belittling the DOT, but they will give us the runaround as much as humanly possible. And then let's come up with some cohesive idea that's good, because quite frankly, we haven't stopped anybody from making a left-hand turn into Connolly. Not a single person, and I know there's been other accidents that are there. There are accidents at the BP station almost weekly. So I think we need to address that corridor. I want people to stop into, to DTA. I want them to stop into Enzo's Pizza and other, business establishments in the township and be able to get in and out safely. Because, I mean, if your customer can't get in and out safely, it's not going in. So if they had to drive 3 more blocks to make a U-turn with it, go on Route 10 down through Whippany and Parsippany. You can't make a left-hand turn across the highway.
No.
But if you want to go to Fuddruckers, you'll go up to the next U-turn and turn around and come back, because that's where you were going. So I just think we need to get the DOT involved in that affair.
Mr. Mania?
I have spoken to a couple of business. One in particular is Calarimi, and he said if enact that no left turn, it's going to really impact his business tremendously.
Was that, Ms. Mandy, was that Mr. Mike Callarimi that you spoke to?
Yes.
You're right.
Because I explained to Mike about 2 years ago, and I said, you know, Mike, not that I haven't bought any cars from you, and don't get all my cars serviced up here, because that's where I come to all the time, but it's really not a function of safety, as it is that you can't see over the crest, where the people are coming after they pass over an all-right road. So that issue, and I've been going there since I got here. So I've been making left-hand turns in there all the time, and I've said to him, Mike, if this were to become a fact, that's a straightaway. And you're really only talking 2 car dealerships on that entire stretch of the highway. So that probably is not a good location to say that you couldn't make a left-hand turn. When you get down to Route 46, as soon as you get off of the highway, Route 80, from there, making a stretch maybe till you get to Sand Shore Road,
When it's more congested,
where
the
it's
busier
more
area.
congested and people are up. Maybe
Right.
that's a sec, but again, we just need to get the DOT out there, John, and let's talk about this.
Also, I think the DOT, if they came out and looked at Route 46, the majority of it's a double yellow, and I think you're not allowed to cross the double yellow to begin with.
We had,
You can
when
make it
when
so-
Sergeant Gallup was
double yellow.
around, he cleared that out. You can cross the
You can.
double
You can?
yellow.
He said you can?
That's
Yes, you can.
I always thought you
acceptable.
couldn't. Is that what they do? They changed that, or that was?
That's always been that way,
Always been that way.
because they'd have so many breaks in the double
Yeah.
yellow that it would be impractical.
It would, oh yeah, then you'd get white line fever, only yellow line
Yeah,
fever,
yellow line
thinking it
fever.
was, oh, I see, but that's what they said years ago, you couldn't cross it, but, well, that's good to know, because
It's
I know
passing
people,
only.
So
I
Colleen,
heard.
when you get pulled over, you can cite to...
I can say.
Say to Stazak said it's
Yeah,
you, man.
it's okay.
Yeah, right, Jen?
So, the direction then, do we want to see if we can get the DOT to come out and investigate this, or do we want to leave it as is at each individual
Well, he's
business?
still- I think he's still, we've already sent the letter.
He sent,
We're just
but
waiting for
the letter was for the entire stretch, I believe. Do you want to amend it to, or wait till they respond and then have them come out? Leave-
Run the play that you call.
I
So
would-
whatever council wants me to do, I will.
Okay.
I would wait for a response.
Wait for a response and then, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering
Don't
how
start sending more letters because they'll never come out here.
Yeah, they'll say,
practical is it gonna be to
All
ban
right, so
left
we'll
turns
wait-
on all of Route 46? How are you gonna sign that?
Yeah.
You
Don't
can't.
know.
The only thing you could do is put up a Jersey barrier.
That's the only
Yeah.
way you're gonna stop it, because signage isn't gonna stop it.
You got a sign, you can't make the left turn by Adams, people make left
Yeah.
turns.
and the
all
thing
time.
is, there won't be enough room for a Jersey barrier, so they'll take more
There isn't.
frontage off of the,
There isn't.
Even the
Yeah.
modified ones, you can't fit.
No,
To
you
me-
can't fit it
To
there.
me, the bigger issue right now is to fix the intersection, somehow fix the intersection at Wolf Road and 46.
Mm-hmm.
Because there needs to really be a turning lane of some kind, and the light structure needs to be changed. Because
Absolutely.
the way that the road surface dips and comes back up makes it extremely difficult to see traffic coming the other direction.
Yeah.
And we had a very good suggestion from Scott Van Ness when he was still on the police force, which I wholeheartedly agreed with. And I'd like the administration to pursue that with DOT to start with.
Right.
And let's go intersection by intersection to see where improvements are required and what can be done. Not simply to ban left turns, but if we can put in a turn lane
right.
at a particular intersection to make it safer, that's the way to go.
Mhm.
It really does require someone with more sophistication and knowledge in terms of traffic issues, such as the police department, to guide us
Mhm.
in terms of how to fix some of the intersections.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can identify those intersections where we've had numerous accidents, and let's start working there to improve our road structure in town.
I agree. Mr. Mania?
I think a perfect example, Mayor, is the turning lane for Village Green. What a difference that
A
has made.
huge difference. I was thinking the same thing.
What a big difference.
A huge difference. The good thing about the intersection that the mayor has referenced, now with the Land Conservancy having the property on either side, it's not like it's a private property owner. We might be able to actually expand that.
I think it is a private property owner if the Land Conservancy owns it. That's-
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's something that we could probably work with
I
a
don't
little
even
bit
know that it
more.
needs an expansion, it simply needs to be re-striped appropriately,
Okay.
at a minimum, and the light change.
Alrighty, seeing any other discussion? Any other comments from administration? Okay, seeing that we're on to our council reports. Mr. Ferranti's not here this evening, so we're going to move right down to Mr. Mania, Planning Board and Senior Citizen.
None. Senior citizen, none. I'm going to attend a meeting this coming Tuesday at the senior center.
Thursday, a week from Thursday,
Thursday,
Mr. Mania?
the 16th.
A week from Thursday, the 18th is the senior.
18th?
No. yeah, the-
16th we're going, right?
No.
Lisa?
18th is the picture.
18th.
The picnic,
Okay.
18th is the senior citizen picnic, Mr.
Okay.
Mania?
Still looking for volunteers to help out.
I've already,
Mr. Stazak's going to
I'll
volunteer.
be there.
You going to flip the burgers?
yes.
All right. Way to go. I'm going to be there, but I'm going to have my little helper with me, so I'll see what I can do to
Does he
help.
know how to cook burgers?
He probably does.
Okay.
He's really good at
Put
salads,
him right to
too.
work.
Okay, we have Mr. Nicastro.
Yeah, we had an open space meeting last night. The discussion was, I believe there's a trail days coming up in September, and the goal was to get the trails in. I talked to Mr. Canning about the GPS and stuff to get the mapping done, so everything will be in order for that. And basically, that's what the discussion was last night. No safety committee meeting yet.
Alrighty. We have Mr. Perkins.
Nothing to report, Madam.
Alrighty. And we have Mr. Roman.
At the last meeting, I was not in attendance along with the mayor because we were at the high school graduation and the previous evening at the middle school graduation. And what a pleasure, as always, to see not only the breadth of talent that we have amongst our students out there. Case in point was in the middle school. There was a, for lack of a better term, a concerto played out by two outstanding graduates, and it was to be awed. And I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate also Miss Pignatera on her daughter having so many accolades, National Honor Society, Business Honor Society, and also being recognized by the Chamber of Commerce.
Yay.
And that is all.
Thank you. Mr. Stazak, you had
Yes,
MOTV?
MOTV, we continue to update and move along. We have lost our contact though with with the Board of Ed. It's my understanding Andy Roberts is no longer going to be there, so we're going to wait to see who replaces him. We're still using Facebook quite a bit.
I saw that.
We are planning to put our videos that we're airing on MOTV on YouTube, and then a link from Facebook to those YouTube videos. We've increased our weekly total for reaching out is 5,394 per week that we're reaching to. We have 259 people that talk about us, which is a 400% plus increase.
On Facebook?
Yeah, friends of our fans is 43,186. So that's the total that we can reach through our fans on Facebook. And we're up to 282 likes. So people are coming to the Facebook
That's-
page for MOTV.
Who takes, is that the one where you take the pictures of an intersection and they say,
Yes.
where is this? That's so cool.
Where is this was a brainchild of Jamie Galdi, which I thought was an excellent thing to do.
Yes.
We met last night, and we're going to also add a "Who is this?" where we give you some facts and figures about a personality from Mount Olive,
Oh,
and see
neat.
if you can figure out who it is, just to keep things going. And we're going to start throwing in some historical sites too,
Yeah.
to see what's going on, and see if people can recognize some of the historic buildings and locations in Mount Olive.
Oh, that's excellent. I know, I was looking at the pictures the other day, trying to figure out which streets were which.
Does the mayor's house count towards?
No.
Historical?
Sorry. Historical?
Historical, no.
I've only
Hysterical, yes.
I've only gotten one
At the
on.
La Citra plantation.
There you
Pool
go.
in the bag,
I think that's it.
Greenbelt.
I think that's an excellent idea. If anybody hasn't liked the MOTV page on Facebook yet, if you could do so, and it'd be kind of fun to see how many of, we can guess the different streets.
I've only gotten one.
I thought it was really fascinating.
Now Mrs. Pignataro is going to send me a cheat sheet, she says.
So, very good. I think they're doing an excellent job. Thank you very much. For the TNR, we had our annual spring yard sale not this past weekend, the weekend before, the 28th and 29th. And we've been very, very lucky, a lot of very generous donations. And the heat was, it was really, really hot. It was a lot of work. And, but we actually raised more money at this last yard sale than the previous one, which is excellent, because each one we're actually raising more money, which means they can do more of their grassroots efforts with a lot of the cats. And the best part about it is we have so many people stop by and ask for information. And we want to thank the After for being so generous and allowing us the use of their lower parking lot. They get a lot of business coming in, and it's just a really wonderful time. Mr. Castro stopped by to see us, and the mayor drove by and waved. He was on his way to another appointment. He said, "I saw you guys out there." But we had a really great time. A lot of really fantastic donations, and then we brought a lot of our clothes down to the Bud Lake Fire Department because they're doing the fundraising with their clothing drive, and then the rest of the items went over to the Methodist Church for their thrift shop. So the donations stay right in town. So we have the public portion. Anybody from the public? Seeing none. Close the public portion. And do we have any council comments this evening? Mr. Nicastro?
None?
Mr. Perkins?
Nothing.
Mr. Roman?
I'd like to once again congratulate Mr. Higgins on our audit. Very thorough, and congratulate Sherry for the excellent work that she does, and obviously the administration and past councils to put us on a very great fiscal path. Also, I'd like to congratulate the administration on the excellent work that you've done with getting Siemens approved with the water issue. It's not many towns that you will see the government go to bat for business, and I think that's one of the things that's going to definitely set us apart, definitely in Morris County, if not the state, as going towards attracting new ratables. So I'd like to commend the administration on that.
Thank you.
That's it.
Mr. Stazak?
Nothing?
Mr. Mania?
Yes, I too would like to congratulate Sherry and Mr. Higgins, and also to let you know that we have a new priest at St. Jude's, Father Antonio Gaviria, and I've interacted with him quite a bit. I think he's going to do an excellent job. The generator for the parish center was originally sent and damaged, and they had to send it back, and a new one's in the process of coming. And once we get that generator there, in the event of another major storm, the parish center could be used as a place for people to convene and have a meal there, because we have a nice kitchen there.
Thank you. I too would like to thank the administration for really going above and beyond in this situation with Siemens, for the administration to take the time to look at the evaluation to find out why the water flow numbers were the way they were, and then to turn around and go down to the state level and argue our position. I think it really just proves what we've been saying, the mayor's been saying, the administration, the council, is that we are a very business-friendly town. Our businesses mean a lot to us, and something like that happens, we're going to investigate and find out what the issue is and move heaven and earth and get it done. Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, Gene Bazinski was instrumental
Oh.
in terms of resolving the issue.
And Mr.
And Mike Latta.
Yep, Mike Latta, who's with our Water and Sewer Department, and Mr. Brzezinski, our Township Engineer. We are really very fortunate that we have such a phenomenal team that is working together, and all these eyes are looking at a situation, figure out how, instead of just saying, oh, well, it's like, okay, what's the issue? Let's see if we can work it through. And I thank you all very, very much, and I think the council all feels the same. And without further ado, can I have a motion to adjourn?
moved.
Second.
Thank you. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.